Welcome back, guys. Have y'all been wondering if you should drop $40 on Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic? Well, stick around because I'm going to discuss everything you need to know so that you can decide if it's worth it or not. Starting off, let's talk about the gameplay. The controls are pretty basic, except now you have levers and cranks and generators that require you to use the mouse movement to operate those, and sometimes they just kind of felt clunky. So for me, I know that it was the reason I got called a few times by the animatronics, but that could have just been because of the mouse that I'm using. The overall progression of the game is done really well, but there are some areas where you kind of just have no idea what you're supposed to be doing. For instance, for me on the final boss, it took me forever to actually understand what I was supposed to be doing in order to beat him. But even when I finally understood what I was doing, it still didn't seem like it was all that well put together, because I would be doing what I'm supposed to do, but then the animatronic would still just somehow be right in front of me and actually catch me and end my run. One great thing though is that it has an autosave feature, and from what I noticed is it saves very frequently. So normally if you're doing a boss fight or something, a lot of times it will save as you get through different stages of that fight, but other times it doesn't save when you think it should. Another great aspect of this game is it actually includes these very difficult puzzles and challenges that really require you to use all of your brain power. Now moving into the story of the game, I'm going to actually read the summary that it's given. Enter the abandoned workshop of Murray's Custom Manor and unravel the mystery left behind by the reclusive inventor Edwin Murray. In Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, you'll step into a world where every dark corner holds a secret and every flicker of light hints at an ever-present threat. The Mimic, a prototype endoskeleton, can adapt to any costume and become any character, including what you fear most. Armed with only your wits, a few gadgets, and a heavily redacted corporate briefing, you'll attempt to retrieve Fazbear's prized prototype technology while grappling with cryptic clues and a relentless shadow determined to dispatch all unwanted company. Prepare for heart-pounding thrills as you explore the labyrinth of the deserted costume manor, discovering remnants of Edwin's unfinished work and eluding the monster he's created. Experience Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic and survive the mystery and madness. Overall, this summary does a really great job of building hype for the game because you want it to be exactly that way. And as for the actual lore and story behind it, I don't think you have to be a longtime fan to understand this game, because the way they went about it was it's kind of like a revamp for the series and a change of direction. So as long as you're playing through the game and you pay attention, you're really going to understand what's going on and why these events are happening. Let's talk about the horror in this game. So you never have more than one animatronic hunting you at a time, because the whole concept is that the Mimic is taking over these animatronics and trying to keep you from finding the secrets that are left behind by Edwin Murray. But when you're starting out and the animatronic or the Mimic is actually chasing you, it's pretty terrifying because you can't really outrun them. I mean, you kind of can, but if you don't get in a locker quick enough, then it's just going to pull you out of the locker and your run is over. As you progress through the game though, the jump scares become more obvious because you're going to enter a room and you're going to see a ton of lockers that you can hide in. So you just know that that's going to be a point where the Mimic is trying to get you. For the most part, it does offer the same good old Five Nights at Freddy's jump scares and horror, but it does it in a new way, which is kind of reinventing for the series. Let's talk about the graphic design. They put a lot of work into every detail inside of this game. Starting with the animatronics, each one has all these very small details that you just have to pay attention to. Two of the biggest features are going to be the creepy little smiles that they have and the wide open eyes that's just peering through your soul. But aside from that, you also have each room or each level that's designed. They hid so many little secrets inside each room, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss something. So you have to just stick around and admire each and every room. When you're being chased by the Mimic, the screen will actually shake. So depending on how close it is to you, it's either shaking almost uncontrollably or it's not shaking very much at all. So it's a good indicator if you have to stay in the locker or if you can come out of hiding. They also put a lot of work into the audio. When you're being chased, you can hear the footsteps from the Mimic, and it gets louder the closer he gets to you. So it's another indicator if you need to stay in hiding or not. Each animatronic has its own creepy voices that it makes or phrases that it says, and they're truly terrifying. I totally recommend playing this with headphones in because it's just going to amplify the horror that you're hearing. Let's do a recap on everything that we've talked about before I give you my final opinion if this game is worth it or not. Starting off, we talked about the gameplay. The controls are very basic, but sometimes it can be clunky. The gameplay is very immersive and it keeps you wanting to progress and see what happens next. Then we had the lore or the story around this game. It does tie back to other Five Nights at Freddy's games, but it's not something that you need to be a longtime fan of to really understand or enjoy. The story does a great job pushing you along, but at the same time, it pushes you to make last-minute decisions and it helps keep the game interesting. The horror in this game is not over the top, but it does a good job staying true to Five Nights at Freddy's horror, but adds a new little flair at the same time. The graphics for this game really are amazing, and you just have to take the time to appreciate all the hard work that was put into this game. Overall, this is a great game. I don't think it's the best Five Nights at Freddy's game, but if you're on the fence whether you should get it or not, then I would recommend getting it. It's going to give you hours of fun and terrifying moments, and it has a lot of replayability. I know for me, I enjoyed playing through it, but I'm going to have to play through it again so that I can see all 3 different endings that it has to offer. If you want to see a video going over each of those different endings and how you make them happen, let me know down in the comments. But until then, here's a video that ranks all Five Nights at Freddy's mainline games, excluding The Secret of the Mimic. And be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.